Hi, my name's Steven, and I'm taking acting classes. I want to say first that if you're looking for a sign to take acting classes, you're watching this video because you're interested in taking acting classes or in acting, I will say that this is a sign from whatever you're looking for to take that acting class. And in this video, I'll be talking about my experience, what I thought it would be like going into it, um, why I'm taking acting classes, so on. So first, why am I taking acting classes when I don't want to be an actor? I want to direct, and I feel it's important to see what it's like to be on the opposite side of the camera, getting direction, seeing what's helpful for me as the person acting, and just seeing how vulnerable it is to be an actor and getting direction, trying to adjust all of that. And also, one of the directors that I was assisting, she was an actor before and now is directing, and she thinks that it informs her directing, and she suggested I take acting classes too. So that was really the nail in the coffin. I was considering it before, and so when she said it, I decided to audit a class. I audited a class in April, and I decided on this particular acting studio, which I won't name until probably the last video of the series, until after I've done my last class for safety purposes. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, I audited the class. Why did I audit the class? Because I chose this particular acting studio because I really liked their philosophy of what it was online, what they outlined, what they believe, all of that. And it seemed very simple. It is very simple and easy in a way. They emphasized overthinking, which, if you saw the title to my last video, I was like, wow, okay, I want to stop overthinking. They emphasized having fun, embodying your feelings, active listening, giving yourself permission to do whatever feels right for you. And I was like, wow, all of those are amazing things, not only for acting, but for life. And everything I watched a bunch of videos from this particular acting studio and really felt like a solid choice. I didn't consider auditing any other class. So then when I audited the class, it was amazing. It was great seeing everyone work. It wasn't an introductory course. It was an ongoing class of experienced actors, and it felt like a safe space. The teacher was great, and it seemed like the teacher was pushing the actors in the best way possible. Like it felt like the teacher trusted the students and the students trusted the teacher, and so there could be a challenge, and yeah, it seemed like there could be a challenge, and it was a safe space to explore things. And in the first class that I took the other night, something that they said that this teacher said was, there's no right or wrong, just exploring. And I love that. That was great, and that's something I need in my filmmaking life. There's no right or wrong. Just explore. So I went over why I'm taking this acting class and why I chose this studio. I guess I'll give a little rundown of this class. It's a 6-week class, as I stated. It was about $300, which comes out to $49 per class, which is, I feel like that's really good. I don't know how they make money off of this class, but not for me to understand. And it's a 4-hour class. So I was there for 4 hours, but those hours flew by. And I couldn't, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I couldn't recommend this class enough. Their philosophy is great. And it seems like other acting studios want you to have a monologue. They want you to go in and rehearse and have this monologue and all of these things, or they like sit you in front of a camera and do an audition, or do like a self-tape or something, or an audition, an audition on your first class. And that seems kind of ridiculous to me. It seems like that doesn't leave room for beginners. Like, this class is specifically a 6-week class that has to do with it's an introduction to their philosophy, to how this acting studio works, and how they want you to work as an actor if you're going to continue with their studio and with their work, and what they feel is the best. So there was no monologue in the first class, which I think I wouldn't have signed up for a class that wanted that anyway. And there was no cameras, so I wouldn't have signed up for that anyway. You didn't have to memorize your lines. They did not want you to memorize your lines. They emphasized having the script in hand so it could be more active listening. So you could have more active listening. So you could listen and react instead of memorizing the lines, planning things out. Oh, on this line I'm going to be angry. On this line I'm going to be this thing. And they kind of just emphasize that we're all beginners, especially in this class for their philosophy, which I think is great. Having the beginner's mindset is something I talked about in my last video that I need, specifically in the filmmaking aspect. So, once I got there, let me say first, what I thought going into it. I have acted in small things in college, nothing serious, very, 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 very small. Like me, one friend, and a camera, small. And I don't think that I'm a good actor. I'm not really trying to be a good actor. I guess I was trying to act well in the things that I was in, but I'm not an aspiring actor. I'm an aspiring director. So I was terrified. I was legitimately terrified to go into this class. I had, let me say, an email went out before class, a couple days before class, with scene partners. And they sent a database that had a bunch of scripts that you could choose from, female, male, female, gender fluid scenes that you could pick too. So my partner and I looked up 3 scenes, sent them to her. She looked up 3 scenes. She sent 4 to me. And then we kind of just talked it out, why we what we wanted to do. We ended up going with one of the scenes that she wanted to do, and it was terrifying to me because the character got angry, and I, in my normal everyday life, don't get angry. So I thought, wow, okay, first scene, first class out of the gate, it's going to be tough. I have to get angry for this scene. And I can link, I'll link the scene up here or in the chat, or not in the chat, in the description. In the chat, like I'm streaming. So I was nervous going into it. I'm going to have to act, and I'm in front of these people I don't know. Luckily, I do have a friend who's taking this class who wants to be an actress. And so I read the scene a few times. I thought, okay, well, this guy gets angry, and that's going to be my challenge. I have to get angry. And then during class, while someone else was talking, or while the teacher was giving notes after someone did their scene, she said, you have to be your character's biggest fan. And I thought, wow, okay. And I kind of immediately thought about my scene, about how I'll link the scene, but the scene is about a racist white guy who gets mad at a black woman and says some racist things. And I was thinking, okay, wow, I was thinking, what's my entry point into being this character, being angry, whatever? Have I felt like I've been wronged in my life? But anyway, but then be your character's biggest fan made me think, oh, this guy's just sad. He's sad and he's desperate and he's kind of hopeless and he needs help. His dad is in the hospital and he needs help from this woman who he feels a lot of different feelings about, based on her race and her name. So I had to humanize my character, which seems, if you're an actor or have studied acting or whatever, it's like, oh, duh. Like, you can't just go into it being like, okay, well, I'm just going to play this character, and I don't empathize with them at all. But that's not me. So I was not thinking that. I was thinking, okay, my work for this scene is to be angry. But anyway, that changed my thought process immediately. And I felt bad for my character with the lines. So how the class was kind of structured, we came in, we were talking, we waited for some people that were late, and we did an exercise where we went around the room and said, hi, I'm blank, and I'm feeling, and then you had to do some kind of, you didn't say what you were feeling, but you did some kind of motion, or you could use your voice, but you couldn't use words. So I think I said, hi, I'm Steven. I'm feeling, and then the person next to me had to go, and then all of them had to do it, and then we took turns going to the next person saying what they were feeling, their emotion. And then we sat down, and also just that, like, I didn't fully scream, but and some of the other feelings that some people did, they were like, I'm feeling and that was nice to kind of get get the wiggles out, as I would tell kids that I teach. Um, to get the wiggles out, kind of get the scream out, kind of feel more present instead of in my head being anxious, overthinking, whatever. So then we were asked, what's the work that we're doing, that we have to do in this class? And my answer to that was dealing with perfectionism, me not being an actor, me not being an actor, and another thing that I forgot, that I was about to say, that I didn't write down, but I just forgot as soon as it was about to come out of my mouth. So I'm gonna move on. Then she went into the lesson, which I won't go into because I paid good money for that, and hopefully you will too, if you're looking to act. Then, but the lesson was nice. It was only a few minutes. There was no like PowerPoint or anything. But I had a notebook. I wrote a bunch down, and it was all really great things that, again, are great for acting, I'm sure, but are great life philosophies as well. So it all just made me very excited. Then we played this game that was, I wrote down focus and fruit. It was a focus game, which I think the purpose was to actively listen and then react. So each person, we all stood shoulder to shoulder, and we were in a line, shoulder to shoulder, and we each had to say fruit. And then somebody down, and then to start the game, the teacher said a fruit. My fruit was pineapple. Let's say the teacher said pineapple. And then I had to say another person's fruit in line. And then that person had to say another fruit. And so on and so forth, bouncing back and forth. And then, so that was kind of actively listening, reacting immediately, not overthinking, I guess was the point. I mean, they explained it, but I just don't remember. But it was great. It was a fun game. I kind of got competitive because I'm competitive when it comes to games. And the teacher was actually right next to me and said her fruit was mulberry. And I was thinking, okay, anytime someone says pineapple, I'm just going to say mulberry because no one else is going to say it. It doesn't come off the tongue very quickly. So I already have my response ready. But then when we were doing like an elimination round, someone said someone's fruit was papaya, but they were already out. And then I said papaya instead of saying mulberry, like I had planned. And then I got eliminated because I said the person's fruit that was already eliminated, which I think is funny because I think that goes into acting with, like, I had planned something and then on the day or during that time when I had to react, something else came out, which also may have been the point of the exercise. Don't remember. But it was a really fun game, especially for someone that was being competitive. That is competitive. So then we got some time, maybe 10 minutes, I think like 10 minutes, to meet up with our scene partners, talk about the relationship of the characters in the scene. We could read the scene, but the teacher emphasized not to plan. Like, you don't have to plan. Like, you're gonna have the script in hand. It's gonna be okay. You don't have to plan. You don't have to memorize. whatever. Like, just kind of discuss the scene. And then my partner and I didn't end up really discussing the scene. We talked a little bit about it, about how we feel these two characters met, or the history behind the relationship. And we talked like maybe 2 sentences, and then we started talking about personal things. So then it was time. After we were done, we went inside, and it was time to do the scenes. There was no stage or anything. It was all flat ground. It wasn't at like some kind of theater. It was just a room that had some lights and really nice big windows that you could see outside. It wasn't at it, like I said, it wasn't a theater. There was no stage. It was a small room, which made it feel more intimate to me, which I liked. It didn't feel like some grand room, or like I was acting in a play and I had to get up on stage and Romeo, Romeo, whatever. But the first I did not volunteer us to go first, but the first group that did go, they did such a great job. The teacher stopped them once they were done with the scene, gave them some notes, and then they continued after the notes, and I think they took the notes well. Then after that happened, they had the teacher had them do some improv, which was basically like, what does your character need from the other person? And then saying what they needed back and forth. And then conversation kind of just came from there, which was really cool to see, because it really seemed like I was watching these two people become characters talking about whatever, and they had never met before outside of this class. So that was really neat. So then, and this is the same thing that happened with my partner and I in every scene, once they were done, after the teacher kind of wanted them to be done, I think they did it maybe 2-3 different times. The teacher sat them down, or they sat down in front of the class, which the scene was in front of the class, and asked them, how did that feel? Then they described how it was feeling, and she talked a little bit about what she observed, and so on and so forth. And it was really great. It was really, really great. So, my scene. My scene. I was terrified, as I said. I was so terrified going up there, even not thinking about how to act. So I went up there, script in hand, kind of was just reacting to what my scene partner was saying with the lines. And when I was up there, let me say this. Before, one of my fears was, okay, I'm going to get up there and I'm just going to be reading lines off of a paper, and there's not going to be any emotion or anything. But somehow that didn't happen. I wasn't thinking in the moment. I wasn't subconscious. I wasn't conscious of what I was doing. I wasn't aware that I was reading I wasn't thinking, okay, you're reading this line terribly, or read this line this way, that kind of thing. I was just reading, and then emotion came through it, which was really great because I was able to be in the moment and not think about how I was acting or think about anything. I was just doing it, which was pretty cool because that's not something I thought would happen at all. So I don't remember a lot of the notes that I got, but we did it one time. Kind of, my scene partner was sitting down, I was standing up, and I wanted to stand up because of like it just felt right. Um, Maybe subconsciously like power dynamic or something. I don't know. I sat down. Actually, no. I take that back. I think I no, no, no. I don't know. I was standing. I think I was standing up in one. I sat down in another, and then I stood up in one. I think I did. We did it 3, 4 times. Uh, One part, the teacher had me come in, walk in, and then yeah, we just tried out a bunch of different things. Then, for the last take, the teacher was like, "Okay, your energy's a little. I don't. She might have said low. I don't remember if she said low or not. But let's just say she said low. Um, and she was like, "Okay, I want you to go outside, and I want you to take a lap around the parking lot." And I took a lap around the parking lot. I ran down the street, and I ran back. I came in, and immediately started the scene, and I was out of breath. And for a split second, I was like, I was reading the lines, and I was like, dang, because I was so out of breath. By I know that a note I didn't get. I know I'm skipping around because ADD. I know I got after was I could have used the being out of breath more in the scene, but I didn't, which is good, which is a good note. Then what else? What else? What else? Oh, I was shocked. In the scene, I wanted the other characters' help, my scene partner's help. And she wasn't helping me. I was getting upset. And she was calling for security on her phone, and I took her phone. And I didn't think beforehand, and I wasn't thinking in the moment, take her phone. But I ended up taking her phone, which was pretty cool. And I was like, wow, is that acting? Yeah, that was fun. And then afterward, my scene partner was like, wow, I wasn't expecting you to take my phone. And it made her feel something. It was nice. It was nice. It felt really good. I left class feeling like pumped. I was like, wow, I had fun. I'm excited to do it again. So then we sat down, and the teacher asked, like, how did that feel? And I basically described that I didn't feel like acting. I mean, I didn't feel conscious of what I was doing. It felt great. One note she gave was, trust that what you're feeling is enough, because, well, first, I will say, she asked me, she's like, I don't remember if this is the right phrasing or not, but she asked me, do you often overthink? And I laughed because she didn't know, but I had just put out the last video that I put out talking about my problem with creative overthinking. And this woman that I had never met, who is an acting teacher, saw it in like maybe 10 minutes of me acting, 10 minutes worth of me acting, after not knowing me, all of that. So my overthinking shows up even when I'm not conscious of it, even though I wasn't thinking in the moment. I wasn't having conscious thoughts, but it was, the overthinking must be so subconscious that I'm not even aware of it, but I'm doing it, which is insane. And then we talked about it after class, and she said, well, hopefully now that you're aware of it, it will have some kind of inception effect where now that I've planted the seed, it can go under all of the layers and dream within the dream, all of that kind of stuff. Which I hope so. I really hope so. Because the fact that she was able to, I mean, and I told her, I was like, wow, that shows how great of a teacher you are, and also how much I overthink. Because she was able to notice it, and yeah, I had no idea that I was doing it. A lot of something I want to say, a lot of people in there, I think what they're called in acting class is called talkbacks, which is like when the teachers asked after they did the scene, all right, how did that make you feel? Or how did that feel? Then they described it. Then people described it. A lot of people said it felt like therapy because they were using emotions that they were like digging deeper. They were digging deeper with things that they didn't expect to dig into, and the questions that the teacher was asking. Also, I read a lot of self-help books, and I go to therapy. I have therapy books, and all of the questions did kind of feel like questions asked in therapy, like, how did that make you feel? Or like, okay, so how did that feel? So on, yeah, so on and so forth. Which I thought was great. I think it was wonderful. I really loved the experience. I don't know if there's anything else I wrote down that I wanted to talk about. Something else, well, one last thing. This kind of goes into the philosophy thing, but something that was talked about was there's nothing serious about acting. It's all just play. And I really love that because I feel like who we really are is the people that we are that comes out during play, like the childlike versions of us, and like who we were as a child that came out during play. Like that's who we are, like creative, innovative, silly, all of that. That's who we are. And I love that it seems like this acting class is very much trying to get you to unlearn all of that. Acting is serious, and you have to memorize your lines and have a monologue and all of these things. It's all about having fun, embodying your feelings, active listening, and playing. And I'm really excited to see where this goes. So, if you are too, this is the weird call to action. Subscribe, like the video, all of that stuff. Yeah. Anyway.